live. No, my audio isn't coming through. That's good. I don't think so anyway. Right. 3, 2, 1. Activate. Good evening, everyone. It's the fan phone-in. We finally have some positivity. Can you actually believe it? And with me, I've got Mr. Ray of Sunshine, Mr. Positivity. It's the wonderful Stevie. How are we getting on, Stevie?
Mate, yeah, it's all good, isn't it? I'm positive today. It's all positive vibes. Karma.
Yeah. Do you reckon? I'll ask you right off the bat. So with Palmer playing that sort of deep-lying playmaker role, do you reckon that's the end of Walsh in any context? Is there any possibility that those two can play together?
Well, only as a game management aspect, I would think now. What do you think? Defending something. There's something to do there, isn't there? Little and large in the middle. But
He's got the
I don't know.
physicality that Walsh kind of lacks. He's got a bit more legs.
He's levels above. He could pass a ball through the eye of a needle. It is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. But yeah, no, it's good. Good result yesterday. Anyone that knows me obviously knows I live in an area called Guiseley in Leeds. And if I opened my window right now, you'd still hear the Bradford fans crying, their howls of tears. There isn't rain, it's Bradford tears casting over this little valley that I live in. But yeah, just want to say that the performance is brilliant. It's close to a perfect performance at home, but
Yeah.
it was that good. You know it's good because the away fans had nothing else to slag us off about apart from the entrance to the Oak Road, a couple of old pillars holding up a 110, 20-year-old roof, you know. Absolute crybabies, a lot of them. So I'm glad we put it over them. I was nervous about it, but you know what? A dominant performance. The only thing that really let us down was not getting the clean sheet.
Yeah. And that's I said it in my post match yesterday. It was the most encouraging performance that I've seen in about 2 years, and it got me thinking: what type of performances have we seen? When was the last time we saw that type of performance, that comprehensive, that uplifting?
Mm.
I'd say the last in my mind was the Watford 3-0,
Yeah,
definitely, and then before that, it was probably the Brighton 4-0. Like,
yeah,
obviously, we're on a high being in the Premier League, but the one that really sticks in my mind, and I think in terms of comprehensive performance where absolutely everything comes off, yes, you don't get the clean sheet. For me, it was Portsmouth in the snow, where
yeah. I
we
mean,
were that comprehensive, that, that Portsmouth first half, we should have been like 6-7-0 up. But that was a
yeah,
very
yeah,
strong Pompey side.
yeah. Absolutely. Those performances, unfortunately, now are quite rare. We used to dominate teams. Me and my brother talk about the January in League One when we got promoted, when Nathan Jones had left and we had the 1-1 at Sunderland, and there was a games after that against the likes of Bradford, I think it was Peterborough, Pompey in the
Doncaster.
snow,
Doncaster,
Doncaster.
the best team in the league.
Yeah, and Accrington as well. And there was like 5 or 6 games where me and my brother did that whole, oh, you'd take 7 points from this, wouldn't you? And just to, stay in the mix. We dominated every team because we were just that good that year. Now, obviously, I read an amazing stat earlier, courtesy of Paris Heritage, which was we are now up to our 44th player this season that we've used. Is that right? Squad player?
Yeah.
And it's the first time since it beats the previous record of 43, which I think was the conference year where we finished seventh or eighth and did nothing.
Yeah.
The year we beat Norwich in the FA Cup, but ultimately petered out a miserable season. And at times, this season has felt like that. I've actually said that we'd probably look back on the squad that started this season. We'd look back at this squad with the same apathy that we would that particular squad in the non-league. Then
It was a
I still
reset.
don't think.
It was a reset. We
Yeah,
needed a reset akin to the one that we
absolutely.
had,
Yeah,
from
and it
that
and
buckle era.
it's the levels and the expectation, right? We were non-league. The attendances were terrible. The atmosphere wasn't great that year, and we were losing to the likes of Hyde and Dartford at home and Braintree. But this season's felt similar to that at times. But like you said, Ollie, yesterday's performance was as close to perfect as you could have wanted in difficult conditions. You know, we did it. The passes that Palmer was laying out, every time he hit it, I thought it was going to get stuck in the mud. But absolutely amazing. Now, I don't want to say we got our Luton back like you didn't, but this is looking positive. If we can come out of Cardiff with a point, that's brilliant. Because after that, was it three of the bottom four and Wigan?
Yeah.
Who we got? Port Vale, Burton, um, Wigan, and I don't know who the other one is. You'll know, but
Oh,
look,
I'm looking it up.
have a look. People don't
They,
chat on those straight away.
yeah, but you got to beat the lesser teams. You know, it's a horrible thing to say, but you got to beat them like
Of
Wigan,
course,
Burton, Doncaster's been postponed, Port Vale, Reading.
yeah,
You got to beat
yeah.
those
I mean, look,
teams. You got
some of
to
them,
beat them if you want to be making a playoff push.
some of the ones at the bottom will have more to fight for. I see a lot of Bradford feedback today saying, "Oh, the Luton game's just an anomaly because we play three of the bottom four in our next three games or something," you know, and they're expecting 9 points. But the ones at the bottom fight more at this time of year. You know, no one wants to be languishing at that point like we were coming towards the business end of the season. So it's going to be hard. I would put the likes of Port Vale away up there with the likes of Cardiff away
Mm.
in a different way. It's going to be hard to get a result of both them grounds for very different
They're going to be
reasons.
sitting back. They're going to be sitting deep, trying to
Of
hit
course
us
they
on
are.
the break, trying to play us like they're the away team. And one
And
thing
they've
we
got our
do
old
know,
friend, yeah,
yeah, who they got?
Port Vale, Andre Gray.
They got Andre Gray. Oh, but you know
Yeah,
what? He
he'll
didn't
be.
really do much against us for Plymouth. The last game where I actually remember him doing anything was that Watford game where he thought he scored, wheeled away, and then it got chalked off
Yeah,
incorrectly for offside. I think,
I
but
know. It was a
yeah,
good game, man.
what a shame. Yeah, that was it was indeed. Um, yeah, it's going to be a tough one because against Bradford, they didn't sit back. They actually came at us and gave us a good
Yeah,
game. Um, I would like to see how we cope against a team that does sit back because mostly when we boss possession, we can't really do too much with it. Just my
no,
humble
set.
shit muncher opinion. Um, and we can't find those avenues. Maybe Casey Palmer can give us something a bit different because, as you say, he can pass the ball through the eye of a needle. And Luton actually put
He
out a
is.
compilation of his passing
Yeah,
from that game, and some of his feet were just unreal.
his footwork's amazing because he's getting pulled down and hacked down half the time as well. You know, he's tying defenders and midfielders in knots, and he's the master key that's going to unpick every lock in this division. I wish we'd had him at the start of the season. I really do. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of people were weary about bringing him in, but I think he's proved his worth already in the few games he's played.
He got up to speed very, very quickly.
He
That
did. He
that was his
did.
third game, fourth game maybe. I think Huddersfield was his first game, and he showed us what he could sort of do. Like he wasn't afraid to run with the ball, have a shot from
Yeah.
distance. He could have had a goal. You know, he had a low drive that got saved.
Yeah.
Watched the game
I'd
back
almost
today. Tremendous.
I'd almost say that his first couple of games, he's probably figuring out where he fits into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure enough, he's given instructions to put into the first 11, but he's probably playing along the likes of Walsh and Fane and thinking, where do I fit in with this?
yeah,
Thinking, I've got to do this now. And he knows he's levels above everyone. But look, let's not just say that he was the best player yesterday. Every single Town
yeah.
player could have got man of the match yesterday for me. Every single one of them. And we discussed this just before we came on air. Even the likes of Saville came on and did the job he was asked to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully, his toys are firmly back in the pram.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to like a double pivot of Palmer and Saville. You know, Saville just sitting there, just cleaning up. You know, potentially against Cardiff,
Yeah,
that could be an option. It really could. Like
absolutely.
Saville win the ball, give the ball to Palmer.
Mm.
Like keep it really, really simple. Win the ball, give it to Casey. Mads Anson, win the ball, give it to Casey. Mengi, win the ball, give it to Casey. Everyone, give it to
Oh, what?
Casey.
Absolutely. I mean, for the first time, I felt like watching that game. You weren't passing it around the back for no reason, with no
Yeah,
aim, with no pathway of going forward, no plan. We defended the ball. It got to Casey. He turned, he swiveled, he did something, he found a pass. We were on the attack. down both sides of the pitch. You know, should have had 4 or 5 at one point. I'm so gutted that they just got the one because I thought Keeley deserved the clean sheet. He wasn't that busy, but then when he was called into action, he was very alert.
Yeah, yeah, and that goal was really unfortunate. A lot of people saying, "Ah, could JJ have done better?" Remember, JJ just played like 96 minutes of
Of
football,
course, he has. Yeah.
whereas that geezer Humphreys, who's an absolute unit, by the way.
Oh,
Remember,
massive, isn't he?
he's like a proper unit. I thought they brought on Dean Windass, to be honest. I was like, what the hell is Dean Windass doing playing for this team? Built like Dean
A love
Windass.
child.
Yeah,
Love child of Dean Windass and Lyndon Dykes. It's just
yeah,
like,
honestly, like the size of this geezer, and he's running next to JJ, who's knackered. Humphreys has been on for like 10, 15 minutes. Could JJ have headed it back? I don't think he had the opportunity to,
no,
really, because Humphreys was like, jockeying him the whole time, like pretty much shoulder to
bullying
shoulder.
him. Of course,
But
yeah.
Keeley was tremendous as well. Some absolutely sensational saves. That one-on-one was
Yeah.
tremendous. But hey,
Yeah, reaction save as well. Yeah, brilliant.
but this is a fan phone-in. We should actually get some thoughts from the fans. So we have someone waiting in the green room. Pete, just wait a second.
go.
We will get you in. In the meantime, just a good evening to everyone that's watching. Tremendous how many people are watching. I love it. Absolutely love it. Martin F. Says Palmer stand out. All the midfield play very well now. Great goals by Richards and Morris. That the Richards goal in particular was sensational, wasn't it? I love those goals. They're just straight and no bobble, no backlift, just
That's it.
straight as an arrow. It was amazing. Everyone will see. I put the call link in the chat as well. I'll drop it in as well. So if you do want to call in after our next caller, please get involved. We want to hear from you guys. Walsh has previous for giving the ball away. I imagine that's from when I asked you, where does Walsh fit in? Remember, Casey Palmer might give the ball away as well in a dangerous area. That is the problem with a deep-lying playmaker rather than someone that is there just to win the ball. If he can do both, win the ball and start the plays, fair play, happy days. But remember, this is League One, He's not Ross Barkley, as much as that compilation of him seemed very Barkley-esque. Yeah, B. Hatter says, and Neuville and Graham Alexander smiling, clapping us. They didn't like that either. That is about what else Bradford fans have been getting rattled about today, which is hilarious.
Well, they didn't see through the history.
No, they didn't. I had to comment on something. I put a comment below someone where it was like, oh, look at Neuville, clapping the Luton fans and smiling after losing. It's like, come on. He's from Stopsley, isn't he? So
Yeah.
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 He's as local as it gets, and he's been with the club since he was 6.
Yeah, he most likely had family there as well, friends.
Yeah, his mum was probably there.
Town
and
supporters,
friends.
Yeah. But there you go. Bradford fans for you.
Yeah, Brimster says Wigan just sacked Lowe. Will make this a tougher game. Danny Clark.
Did they? Was that recent?
Yeah, he was sacked like this morning, I believe. Yeah, I reckon the Cardiff game is now a free hit. Cardiff won't fancy a new Luton at their place. I wouldn't call it a free hit, but I think a point is the minimum that we need to sort of keep going with the playoffs. I was telling Brocky, Mark the Hatter, before. He asked me about Casey Palmer, and I said, Casey Palmer is the difference. I said this when I was on the Oak Road Hatter pod, when I first started my first foray into podcasting. It was around that time Marv Nakamba joined. I said, Marv Nakamba is the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. And that is the same with Palmer. Palmer is the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. I think with Casey, we could make the playoffs. Genuinely. He adds so much more to us. Here's one for you, Stevie. Thoughts on Al Hamadi?
I don't know. I still don't know. He shows more up front. He really does show more up front, but I think he's frustrated with this level. He's probably forgotten what it's like in League One. You don't get the clear-cut opportunities to run onto the ball. You've got to fight for it up front. I think that's really getting to him. And I think the Bradford players did a good job of getting under his skin yesterday, which they did. Clear foul on him in the middle of the pitch, which, allowed to play on, ridiculous. For me, that changes the course of the game. I don't think they score if that free kick is given. I think we manage it a bit better for the following 5 minutes because it wasn't long after that that they scored themselves, was it? So um, I don't know. Yeah, Al Hamidi, he looks better than Yates, doesn't he? Already. You know? I mean, Yates has had
Yes.
another stinker today, hasn't he? What has he had? One
He
successful tackle
he
today
he
for
completed
100%.
5 passes in
Did
90
he?
minutes. Yeah, 5 whole passes. Fair play to him.
Oh,
Data led.
well done.
Someone was busy telling me on Twitter. He's actually an example of not an AI generated data led signing. He was a market opportunity signing. I was like, market opportunity. Nonsense.
Yeah,
Um,
ridiculous. It really is. But you know what? We've got options which I think are stronger now. Considering, look, I know they're
Cole had a
a
good
Nordos.
game. Cole was good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was impressed because he offers something different to Wells, doesn't he? He doesn't just fall over under a challenge like Wells does.
He's got the
He's a
physicality.
bigger unit,
Yeah.
and he wants the ball. He held it up well on that far left hand side of the second half, I thought, and he was playing some clever balls to the edge of the area for the likes of Richards and Palmer to get onto. Um, but we look better with the options up front now. You know, I know there's an Nordos fan club out there still. I never really bought into it, but the options we have are stronger.
Yeah.
We just need strikers to score because we're still not having the strikers score goals.
Yeah. Well, in a one-up top formation where you expect the striker to sort of float around and pick up the ball and lay it off, drop deep and lay it off to, attacking midfielders, that will happen. I do think a
Yeah,
front two of Cole and Al Hamidi for the immediate until maybe, or maybe even Wells and Cole, because Wells drops deep. But to be honest, I want to see more of Al Hamidi because he was direct with his runs whenever he got it. However, the ball was
yeah,
sticking up for him quite a bit, and he wasn't
yeah,
able to sort of get that pure Andre Gray run. Do you remember how Andre Gray used to get the ball, push it in front of him, and just sort of chase after it like a cocker spaniel?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he
it.
he he
That's it.
didn't he
Yeah,
didn't have that moment in him. Like he was still caught in two minds, or the ball got stuck underneath his foot. He still laid on a good chance for Casey Palmer, like sort of at the death as
yeah,
well.
yeah. He's a
I think
team
that
player. He is
yeah,
a proper
there's a
team
lot
player.
more to come from him, and you know what? He doesn't hide from the ball. Jerry Yates
No, he
hid
wants
from the
it.
ball all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I feel like if he gets one goal, I know we said it before about Yates and Wells and others, but if he gets one goal, I feel like he's the sort of player that will kick on with that.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm excited to see what he can do, and he's got a bit of fire about him, like a little bust up at the end of the final
Yeah, he wants it,
whistle.
doesn't he?
I love a bit of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm all game. I'm all game for that. Right, shall we get in our first caller? Shall we? Let's bring him in. I hope I've done that correctly. Good evening, Pete. How are we doing? You're becoming a firm fan favorite and a regular as well.
Yeah, how are we doing, guys?
Good
Yeah,
man. How you doing?
good.
It makes a change to come on here and not have a moan and talk about a decent performance, doesn't it? Really?
The fan moaning that we normally have.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. I mean, for me, and like you guys and most of the people in the stadium, it was the best performance of the season for me for 70 minutes. I mean, obviously, once we started to make changes, we lost a little bit of our fluidity. But for 70 minutes, we were on the front foot. More importantly than anything, we looked like a team with some bite and some grit, and we looked like a cohesive unit. I mean, all the players looked like they wanted to be out there, and that's the first time I've seen that sort of togetherness all season. And I think Mengi typified that a little bit for me when, twice he went down, twice he got up and wanted to continue, and he ran off his injury. And a couple of months ago, he might well have chucked the towel in and said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I've had enough. I'd like to come off." But
I'll tell you what.
that I thought that was a good sign, really.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I've got a question for you then, Pete. Is you mentioned something which I was going to bring up later on. For 70 minutes, we bossed that game completely. I wonder if this is Jack Wilshere's inexperience because what happened was Bradford made 4 changes at once, I think it was, and then
They brought in
another
all the big
very
boys. They brought in
all the
big
big boys came on, right? And when we had to then react to those changes, Wilshere's inexperience maybe seeing, wow, they're coming on now. We need to adapt this. We didn't bring on any extra special kind of tactics, did
Didn't
we,
bring
with the
Savile.
players? It was just
Didn't bring
no.
Savile.
So But when the players came off, they looked like they didn't want to go off. It looked like they're having so much fun out there, and they didn't want to come
Yeah.
off because they didn't want the reaction that we'd have to put out to these big boys coming on. The ones that ran us ragged the first time round.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, sometimes the players look as if they can't wait to get a jacket on and sit on the bench and have a laugh with their mates. But I think genuinely, all the players were enjoying it. They wanted to be out there. Nobody wanted to come off. But I think the problem you've got at this level is now, and a lot of football is going this way. The lines are being blurred a little bit between a manager and a head coach, and I think managers need to manage, and they need to manage the situations. Wilshere's a young sort of manager, if you like, but he still sees himself as a coach. I would imagine he was, getting the boots on at Arsenal, and he was probably one of the best players at the club, and he's probably one of the best players at Luton still. But if you take Alex Ferguson, he had someone like McLaren and Phelan doing all the sessions, and
Yeah.
his job was just to get the players pumped up at 2:55 when the buzzer went off in the changing room. And, if he needed to move players on, he'd move them on, like Keane and Ince. It didn't matter how big the players
Yeah.
were.
No
And I think,
sentiment at all.
yeah, and I think, Wilshire's probably a little bit like Hoddle was at Swindon. He's probably still the best player, and he still gets involved.
Like
But,
Mark Hughes at Man City as well, just smacking balls in
he's
the
got
top
to
bins.
he's got to manage. The clue's in the title. He's a manager, and if he can do that, we've got a chance of producing something that gets the juices flowing again.
I'll tell you what, it's an interesting point you made there as well, is that with modern football is there's two ways of thinking about when teams make lots of wholesale changes midway through a game. Younger managers that come through the UEFA academies and all this, they're all trying to play this pep ball. What happens is they see it like a chess match, don't they, or a chess game. Oh, he's made these, now I'm going to have to bring this person on, I'm going to have to do this. Whereas back in the day, you probably get the likes of Ferguson and Clough, Atkinson. What would happen is they'd bring on new players and they'd be like, stick one on the new fellow who's just walked on the pitch, tell him welcome to the game and this is what we're doing. Whereas now it's very much like, oh, I see you've moved your, literally someone called Bishop, you've moved your Bishop, I'm going to have to bring on this now,
Yeah, yeah.
They're they're thinking
Unfortunately,
about it too much. That's the thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stick it on him.
Unfortunately,
It's
in
not
this
that deep.
day and age, you can't say to players, "Look, pick one on him in the first 2 minutes because your first one's free." You don't get that anymore, do you?
You get
You
red
don't,
carded
yeah,
after, get red carded straight away.
yeah,
But I mean,
absolutely.
looking at
The game's
yesterday,
gone.
though, yeah, looking at yesterday, I think if you take the two Keeley saves out of the equation, the three best players on the park for me were Palmer, Clark, and Richards. I mean, Palmer's just added that little bit of composure to the team, hasn't he? And by playing him in a slightly deeper role, it allows Clark to flourish because that's definitely his best position, playing in a more advanced role. And I thought he was exceptional yesterday, Clark. And
Yeah,
he's a funny sort of player for me because he's better than League One, but he gets bullied at Championship level. He almost needs a division in between the two. Do you know what I mean? Because when he's played in the Championship, particularly last season, he didn't look that great. But he's looked $1 million this
yeah.
season.
Well, the league between League One and Championship is abroad. It's probably called Serie A, I think. So
Yeah,
you can go over there and do a bit of a job, maybe. But no, you're absolutely right. A lot of Bradford fans were on Twitter yesterday saying Palmer was amazing, Clark was amazing, and one of them actually said it's unfair that to have players like that at this level.
yeah.
And it goes again. It's just a ridiculous thing to say. They've equally. I'd happily have that point in our squad. I think he's a brilliant player. But yeah, you're right. Palmer's a different class. But sometimes he does a player well good, doesn't it? To drop down a level, reset
No,
themselves.
absolutely, yeah,
I
yeah.
guess
It
for
might,
Clark,
it might, it might
Clark,
propel him, yeah, propel him onwards again, and put him firmly in the picture again. But I mean, Richards as well, for a young lad, just seems to play with his head up all the time. And you look at him; he's a player that's playing beyond his years. And if you compare him to Zach Nelson, for example, that's
yeah.
where Zach Nelson should be. But they're chalk and cheese, aren't they?
Zach Nelson's head went down after that Plymouth game at home. I think he gave away the second goal, not completely, but it was as a result of a mistake he'd made with a poor touch. But I think after that, I genuinely thought his confidence dropped and he never got back to the level that we saw against Burton, where he was ripping them to bits. But while we're on it, Menke was, like you said earlier, was outstanding. What is your opinion now of Menke? I mean, he probably did have offers. He probably could have left. It's almost like he is trying to pay back the faith, and maybe there wasn't so much truth in a lot of the rumors going around in previous transfer windows.
Yeah, we all know that there's a player in there because he showed that when we was in the Prem. You know, he was arguably one of our better players in the Prem. Um, but yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes just little things can unsettle a player, and maybe there was a little bit of discord at the club, and there were players that weren't putting a shift in, and maybe he'd had his head turned a little bit. But he seems to have found his mojo again now, and certainly, you know, you look at the last couple of games, he just seems to be on it again, and maybe, you know, he's playing alongside Anderson now, and he's enjoying that. I'm still not sure about Anderson, but yeah, he had a decent game on Saturday. But no, it's good to see him wanting to put the shirt on and wanting to play for the shirt again. You know, he's a good player, and I'm sure he could get a move to a championship side maybe next season if he wanted to. But you know, if we play like that, there are definitely not six better sides in the division than Luton Town. Definitely not.
Absolutely.
Especially not
Absolutely.
considering we just be a team two places above us as well. Like,
But you know,
a good
I
footballing
don't want to
side.
get too carried away with it.
No,
though,
no,
because,
no, no. We do not
you
have
know,
our Luton back. You cannot say we have our Luton back. Sunderland fans were haunting me with that after I said that.
Yeah,
After, you know,
yeah.
we lost but played well. We got
Yeah.
our Luton back.
But what I would say as well is, you know, it's nice to see old Van der Valk come on, or whatever his name is, but he's never 6'3", is he? Come on. I mean, if he's
He
6'3",
didn't look massive. Yeah.
if he's 6'3", I'm Peter Crouch. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
He had good touches
You know,
though.
Three high
He's
studs. High studs.
he's 5'11" at best, isn't he? But he looks fairly compact, and he looks like he might be a decent player.
Yeah.
I did like his nutmeg pass he did. The nutmeg pass on the edge of the Bradford box in the second half. Yeah, brilliant. Love that.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
sure if he meant it, but it looked good.
I saw him warming up as well, and you can always tell if someone's a player by, you know, the way they strike a football. And he looked quite confident when we were doing the shooting drills before the game, and I thought, yeah, you know, looks like a decent player.
How did Jerry Yates look in training drills?
Yeah, I don't think he's ever hit the target in training either, has he? I don't know, but with all the comings and goings of the last week, maybe now we've got a little more identity as to what direction we want to go in. I know it's only one game, but funnily enough, I bumped into Jacob Brown in Starbucks in Harpenden on Thursday, and I said to him, I said, Jacob, I've got to ask you, why did you leave Luton for Pompey? And he said, well, Pete, it was an easy decision, really. They've got heated seats in the dugouts at Portsmouth. I'm here all week.
But
Good.
Yeah, hang on. I got a sign for this. Hang on. There we go.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
But I just hope we kick on from here and we put in a bit of charge, you know, for the playoffs. Because about 3 months ago, I booked the Wembley International Hotel for 2 dates, the Virtue Cup final and the playoff final, because I just remember what a nightmare it was getting back from Wembley after the Coventry game. So I'm just hoping and praying that you know, we at least have 1 day out at Wembley. But if Wiltshire plays all the stiffs in the quarter-final, I'll be absolutely gutted and fairly angry about it, because after the shit that we've been served up for the past 2 years, the fans deserve a day out at Wembley, don't they? And if we can get a Wembley appearance, bloody brilliant. But he'll lose.
There you go.
Yeah, but he'll lose any credit he's got in the bank if he puts the stiffs out and we get beat in the next round.
That aside, I can't take Plymouth and Tom Cleverley doing a hat-trick over us this year.
No.
I can't deal with that.
The Virtue Trophy is the only thing that was keeping Cleverley in the job at one point. Being top of their old Virtue Trophy group. My fair play.
I've never known.
You know, we've got a little, you know, it's one game, but we're all in a good mood. We're all going to have a good week. There's no midweek game to make us pissed off again. So, you know, fans live in the now moment. the future is a projection and the past is just a bit of a nice fuzzy memory, isn't it? I mean, the stadium's the future and the past has gone. So the fans are only interested in the 90 minutes on any given Saturday or Tuesday night. So, you know, as long as Wiltshire keeps making the right calls, then, you know, we're all on board, aren't we?
I think that's your mic drop moment, to be honest, Pete. That was a brilliant way to end that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
There you go.
But,
golf clap for you there.
you know, the fans are only interested in what happens on any given Saturday, aren't they? And you know, we've all gone away with a smile on our face, haven't we?
It's true, because it was a good Saturday yesterday. It's one of them rare Saturdays in football where your team wins. All the teams that you hate watch, they've all lost. You know, the little ones, you're like, oh, I really hope Wrexham lose today. I really hope Watford lose today. And I hope Cambridge get it put up them by Harrogate today. It all happened. You know, it's beautiful. England won the rugby. There you go. Bedford Blues won the rugby derby against Ampthill. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Just, you know, you don't want to come home and start kicking the cat, do you?
Save that for next week when everyone goes wrong.
All right, Zuma.
yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Right, Pete, we'll get our next caller on. Thank you very much, as always, for joining us. Appreciate it. A lot of
Thanks,
love.
guys.
A lot of
Have
love
a good
for you,
week.
Pete.
Yeah,
have a good
you
week,
too.
mate.
Cheers, man.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Oh, I cut him off prematurely. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, there we go. Normally we have someone else to do it. There was one time I actually tried to remove someone from the call. I accidentally kicked them from the Discord server by accident. It's like, and stay out. So I didn't mean to do that at all. It just happens.
Is there someone else lined up?
There was. They've dropped out. You know, come back. I didn't see the name. Whoever wants to call, I'm gonna drop the call link back in the chat. Anyone else that wants to come in for a chat, please do.
Just on the
some
subject
great
of,
points from Pete, as always, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say his idea of watching someone in the warm up. I'll say this now. A story of my opinion of warm ups is 0 because my bar is so low. I once watched Dan Gleeson leave Kenilworth Road in his shorts and his socks, and Daniel, my brother, will back me up on this. He went to the bacon cheeseburger van, right? He bought an actual bacon cheeseburger in his Luton coat, his shorts, and his socks. And he ate it and walked back into Kenilworth Road. And he was on the bench later that day. That was while the warm-up was going on, you know? So
Yeah.
My warm-up now, the bar's so low that if you're on the pitch actually kicking the ball, you're doing brilliant.
Yeah.
If you're outside at the van, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, well, I guess with Dan Gleeson, he probably knew he wasn't playing. You know, might as well have been Danny Spiller. Or use that one, Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson? I can't even remember his name. He's not on Hatters Heritage because he never actually played. So I'll read some comments out. Whoever OK Tech Issue is, they're happy to report minimal issues so far. I'll actually tell you, we've dropped 207 frames, which is 0.3%. I'm delighted with that. B Hatter says, has Palmer got an option to buy? So during the match, I actually looked up the announcement for Palmer, and I couldn't see any reference to an option or an obligation. I don't know. I can't find the original tweet, but he's pretty much the only player where I haven't been able to find that we have an option or an obligation to buy. I imagine the obligation is if we were to get promoted, that is the obligation. Great about Kajua, though. Don't know why we announced it 4 days after the window closed. Like, the earliest opportunity makes no sense to me. Mark Cheatham says, Joe Johnson was great too, apart from the last minute when the striker got a run on him. Yeah, come on. That's, you know.
It is tired legs,
Yeah.
and tired legs and a short man against a unit who'd just been on for 15 minutes, I think. So got to let him off with that one.
Absolutely. Also, sad news about Stuart Palmer from Danny Clubb. Sad news about Stuart Palmer, passed away today after a heart attack last week. It was a well-respected round of applause in the 77th minute as well.
I think that, who was the, I've forgotten the name, sorry, I hate to say that, I can't remember who it was for on the 70th minute, but Luton Irish as well, wasn't it? So sorry to hear that, but Stuart Palmer sits behind me actually in one of the rows in Block F, so I know his son's knockabout as well. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to all there, man. Like, very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so it was Jim Carway that passed away.
That's
It was
right. Yeah. Sorry.
communicated through Law Luton and and LTST as well. Yeah, but it was well respected. Round of applause. A lot of people saying the new Dutch guy looked good. I agree. Pete sounds like Harry Bassett. Do you mean Mike Bassett? I'm not sure. Well, I just want to see Luton playing a 4-4 fucking 2. Not a Christmas pudding. And Kenny Cool says we could field the Swindon team. I don't know if that means the team we played against Swindon. But five of the players are gone now. Or do you mean the Swindon team who played against us with the 2 ineligible players? We could play them, but they would be ineligible, wouldn't they?
Who are the 5 that have left then since the Swindon game?
Since that game,
yeah,
Walters, Makosso, Fane, Nelson, Yates.
Did they all play against Swindon then?
They did. They all started. Shea in goal. Fox. I want to see more from Fox. I want to see Harry Fox playing. You know, like he can be the backup to Joe Johnson. He should be on the bench. It's a shame it's a 7-man bench. Genuinely, it would be tremendous. Nigel Longwick, Makosso, Walters, Saville sitting, Lawrence, Nelson, Fane, Morris, and Yates.
I think with the Lawrence thing, people are sort of saying a lot of these Man City, rumours, conspiracy theories. The fact he wasn't even in a squad yesterday, was he? So could probably put that to bed, I think, really.
Well, no, Wilco, he spoke about that in the programme notes. Not that you can believe everything you read in the programme notes. It was a silly rumour that was going around on Twitter. It was probably a conspiracy theory that just snowballed into a rumour. It's like, oh, well, he's gone straight into the lineup. It must be because we're not paying for him if he plays. Yeah. It was very unfair on Bramall. I don't think that was the best choice to put him in ahead of Bramall. But weird considering Bramall's out for 6 weeks now, and now Lawrence wasn't even on the bench. Weird, but to be honest, I think men's football was probably a bit of a step up for him. Maybe you couldn't have gone to the conference.
Guess anything, can you?
Yeah.
It's
maybe he should have gone abroad instead. Like maybe City should have put him in Serie A or the Scottish
one of their sister
Championship.
Clubs.
Yeah, like send him to Australia. Kenny Cool says Archer was a mistake. He scored a glorious free kick yesterday, but hey ho, you can't do anything about that. Brimster says good old Diverse FM, the making of Simon Pitts, not just Simon Pitts. So Jim Carway was obviously involved with Diverse FM, and round about that time. So I don't know. I've told you I lived in Scotland for 4 years. I moved up in 2012, came back in 2016, and Diverse for me was the way to stay in touch with all the games. It was tremendous, and funny enough, Steve Moore, who called in last week. So when we worked together on the We Are Luton Town stuff, we were both writers for it. I remember the first time he sent me a voice note. I don't know if you remember the Luton Town show from the old days. Oh wait, hang on. Your audio's gone. What I'm gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to Mac OS audio. Here we go. Look, we do have a technical error, but Stevie should be back now. You're back, Stevie?
I didn't know I was off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The audio just dropped, but it's back now. So I remember the first time Steve sent me a voice message, and I was like, oh my God, it's the guy that presented the Luton Town show on Diverse FM. So he has the most distinctive voice. It's tremendous, and it just took me back to those days, spending my day in a buyer safety cabinet, doing cell work and stuff. Tremendous stuff. Yeah, all those grim northern grounds though. Go to Gateshead. Done Gateshead way too many times. I know that you probably do all that stuff because you pretty much live up north, don't you? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it. Living up in Yorkshire, I was probably one of the few people that was excited about coming down to League One because it's like a northern league. So, but if our away form wasn't so bad, I'd probably go to more. But I can't justify spending the money for every home game and every away game. being based in Leeds is hard work, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But look, that's why the away form needs to improve now.
Mm.
By the way, the call link is back in the chat, and we're back as well. So if you want to call in, don't be scared. You know, you come in, you click the link, go to the green room, and then we'll get you into the main studio.
So
Yeah,
we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? We were talking about the idea that we've got a set defense now,
that is
and
a
there's
big part of it.
I
That
think
is
that's so
massive.
important because it's kind of a makeshift defense. No, if someone had said to you, Johnson be our left back, and he's going to do brilliant, he's going to run teams ragged, you wouldn't have taken that, would you? You wouldn't have believed it. You'd been, oh, can't really
I
see him
would have.
bossing it and making it first, would you?
I
Really? And
Oh
then
yeah,
and then long
always
like as
believed in
well,
him.
right back. All these right back issues that people are bringing up. Yeah, we do have a right back issue, but it looks so solid at the moment, and I'm dreading anything happens to anyone in that back four. This is the most comfortable I felt with our defense
Mm-hmm.
in a long time, and we're not
It's
passing it about the back like we used to.
yeah.
It's literally Mads. How many times did he header clearances yesterday? Ridiculous amount of
He was
header
on it.
clearances.
He was properly on it, wasn't he?
Mengi's got to be the best tackler on the floor in the
Mm.
team. He wins it, he gets it, and we were getting the ball in defence, putting it straight into Palmer, the key, and he was unlocking these locks and getting the passes out wide. Complete freedom for Kodjoa as well. Morris, there's a reason that they're scoring. They're given the chances. The passes are there for him, you know. So the defense plays a big part of this, I think, because for the first time all season, I think we've got a set defense, and that's the key thing to getting promoted out of these leagues, isn't it? Think back to, before in League One, who'd we have then with Pearson, Bradley, Justin,
Stacey.
Stacey?
Yeah, it was the same
You know,
four every week.
of course it
Every
was,
week.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
you need that.
even the year we come up from the conference as well, you need that regularity with that
Mm-hmm.
key.
Yeah, a big part of it as well is they all know what they're doing, because obviously Nigel Longwick is not a right back. So what does he do? He doesn't go on marauding Jack Stacey-esque runs. He doesn't do that. He keeps it simple. Essentially, it's fascinating seeing the way we work. So whoever's playing right wing sort of covers the whole wing, front to back, and will, and also on the left, like Kajura yesterday, he was folding in alongside Joe Johnson. So Joe Johnson moves into the middle, and then it becomes a back three in a way, doesn't it? So it's like a 3-2-4-1. If that
Yeah.
does that, my maths is terrible. Does that add up to 10? Yeah,
You've got it. You've got
yeah,
it.
it was like a 3-4-2-1. So, you have Mengi Anderson and Longwick sort of at the back when we attack. Johnson sitting in front of them with Casey Palmer, and then you had Kodja, Clark, Morris, who else am I forgetting? And Richards in the middle with Clark, and then you had Cole. That was a very interesting way of doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is good. And
it's
granted,
very flexible.
the Bradford goal came out of, for me, tiredness. It was the 96th minute, close to, or maybe well into. And like you just said, Ollie, they went to that back three, that weird transitional back three, and that's where Johnson got caught. Johnson got caught out of it. That goal doesn't happen if it's Mengi there. Mengi's a professional. He's got a bit more experience about him. He knows what he's doing with Humphreys in that position just outside the box before he gets a chance to run in and get a shot off. So Johnson got caught out there, but his experience will be better for that as well.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one. The match stats make no sense to me. They apparently had a higher XG, had 2 big chances to our 1 big chance. Yeah, so it's interesting if you look at a shot map for this one. I actually looked at this very, very with a lot of intrigue. So our shots, primarily, other than Shaden Morris's chance, which was like our 1 big chance of the game, all our chances were not just from outside the area. And look at this, if you have a phone in front of you, it was sort of the left side of our of the area that we were attacking. So it was like the cut-ins, it was like the Casey Palmer, like just from the left side of their area, but outside the area. So as XG goes, I don't know if you want to believe in XG or what, Bradford obviously generated more XG because they had that one-on-one, which was a big chance, and they had Keeley pulled off some absolute blinders, and then the goal was a big chance as well. So they missed 1 big chance and scored 1 big chance. But for us, we only had 1 big chance, and the rest of ours, The XG is on the grass. Yeah, the XG is on the grass. So the basic description of XG essentially is that number is determined by a penalty. Okay, so a penalty will have an XG, depends on what stat company you're using, but a penalty will be scored 70% of the time. Therefore, it is given 0.7 XG primarily, normally. So for every 1,000 penalties, 700 of them will be scored. So they, stats bots will say, okay, so this shot from like 35 yards, unless it's Jerry Yates, in which case it drops to about 10%. Or Naki Wells, who's already missed 2.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah. So our chances from outside the area generated very low XG because historically people don't really score from those areas, unless you're like Janino Permacambo or whatever his name was, that famous free kick specialist. You're not going to score from there like every time. So yeah, that's why our XG was so low compared to Bradford, because they had shots closer to our goal and bigger chances.
I hate that.
We still haven't generated. We still don't generate those big chances.
Yeah. Stats as a defense. Particular data.
PA is having a go at me in the comments. XG is total nonsense. I told you that last week, Ollie, and you've also mentioned a double pivot tonight. I don't think I mentioned the double pivot. I just said Casey Palmer and Liam Walsh playing together, or Saville and Palmer playing together. And yeah, I do think XG is total nonsense. It's just there to give people a job, at the end of the day. Anyone that references XG is an idiot. Not references it, but I mean points to it as like, oh, look how good we are. Because the eye test is all that matters, really. If you can create chances, you're creating chances at the end of the day. In my humble shit muncher opinion. What do I know? I'm not a UEFA accredited coach.
It does matter because obviously after the Plymouth game at home, I approached someone within the club and asked them what they thought of the diabolical performance. And this person showed me their phone and said, look at the XG. And for me to have to be shown a number on a phone, I just said, it's not good enough. I need to know the chances were there and know why we missed them. I don't care about the number. I want to see, I want to remember, blah, blah, hit that shot. It hit the bar. That one got saved.
Look at that XG, nonsense. Mate. We're going straight back up again.
Nonsense. I get about a bit of Kenilworth Road sometimes, yeah.
yeah. Like, honestly, it really doesn't make a difference because it ultimately comes down to how many goals you score. Should we be creating more click card chances? Maybe. Will that change if we play someone up front with Colton Cole? Not Colton Cole, Devante Cole. Maybe. Good thing I didn't call him Andy Cole. Andy Cole was prolific though. He was at the game as well.
Was he at the game? Someone said that he might be there, but
Yeah, his son's first start. Why wouldn't he be there? You want to see your kid, play for the former Premier League team who are Luton Town. Why wouldn't he? It is a concern. I can't lie. It is a concern that we aren't creating the clear-cut chances. The type where Stacey crosses it in to James Collins to tap in. The fact that we're not doing that. Maybe that will come a little bit more, but we do... Hey, it's Wilshire's Luton, we're trying to walk it in, the problem with Arsenal is they always try and walk it in. Yeah.
IT crowd.
Exactly. That's why I was trying to do I was trying to do an Irish accent there. I hope I didn't offend you, Stevie.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the bit at the end when they've just done the bank job or whatever, and they're in the van.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The problem with Arsenal is, because he just doesn't know what to say. We are trying to walk it in, but we're also taking shots from distance, which we weren't doing before.
If you don't shoot, you don't score, right? And my favorite, I'd say it's terrible. My favorite goal last year in the Championship was the one against Leeds. The breakaway goal, Elijah getting down left-hand side, pinging it across, Izzy Jones getting on the far post.
Yeah. Like the Chong goal. Like the Chong goal, right? Goal. Against Liverpool. That was goal of the season.
Before that, we were talking about the 2019 game against Accrington. I think there was a goal that James Justin scored, I think, where it was a similar kind of run and crossing
Yeah.
by Moncur, and Justin finished it. You know, I love them breakaway goals where you get down, you ping it across, and there's a fella in there just going to fucking slam it in. You
Mm.
know, don't get me wrong, I'll take any goal that we score. I don't care how it goes in. But
We might see a bit more of that. We did a couple of those
I was
against
just going to
Stockport,
say,
to be honest. We might do a
yeah,
bit more of that, you know, but when a team is sitting so far back, you can't really
no,
do the breakaway goals. But against
no,
like
just
the likes of Cardiff, we might see that. We could
of course,
see
and
that.
Bradford yesterday, you know, Kodja had a good chance in the second half. I think who else had one at a similar sort of angle? I want to say it was Al Hamidi was round that area, but every time the ball went out on the left hand side, it was cutting the defence in half,
That
and we
was
were
a
getting
tremendous
pacey
ball by
behind it.
Saville. That one you're
Was it?
mentioning at the end, that was a tremendous ball down the line by Saville. And I think Casey Palmer also had one that was, a just straight ball down the middle as well. The type of
Yeah.
balls that last season were just cutting us to ribbons.
But we should say that for all this XG nonsense, right? Yeah, Bradford has a bigger XG, right? But we all have said in one way or another online, in match reactions, we've said we could have had a 4 or 5 yesterday.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, like
really.
Clark hitting the
But
bar, that was tremendous as well. But that was a low
Par,
XG
Par,
opportunity.
Palmer's shot from outside the area,
Yeah.
20 odd yards out, and it
Their
sort of
keeper
took
played
a
a
bounce.
blinder. Their
Of course he
keeper
did. He
played an
kept it respectable
absolute
for them.
blinder. Yeah.
Just like you said yesterday in the match reaction, the scoreline flattered Bradford. It really did.
Yeah, it's like that Pompey game, that ended up 3-2. Like in that first half, we're only 1-0 up. We could have been 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think their keeper at the time was McGiveray. It was one of those goalkeepers they had. He played a blinder, and then they
Yeah.
brought on
Yeah.
who did they bring on? They brought on that geezer. That journeyman striker, and he completely changed the game because he was a hold-up merchant. He held up the ball for them. Here's a comment from Luton Town fans. As I said above, I think the chances for Kojua and Jones when they broke through on the left and had shots on target in the box were decent
Jones.
enough chances
Yeah.
when we broke through them. Yeah, it was Jones, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was right. Yeah,
Saville
Jones.
played him through. Yeah, I was just surprised to see Jones playing left forward, considering Jack Wilshere referred to him as my right back.
Very strange.
It's back-to-back games where Jones has come on as a sub and not played right back, which is where his preferred position allegedly.
Jones came on, and I think he instantly made a mistake giving the ball away, but then he won it back. And then after that, he was just an absolute master at getting the ball on that deep left-hand side, waiting for contact by the attackers, going down, hugging the ball.
Yeah.
Proper game management, and that's what we needed at that point. And that's going to be important for us. If we can, come out flying like we do against teams and get a couple of goals, get a bit ahead. We've got the players that come off the bench that can really contribute in terms of game management. Saville's one of them. I don't see him as a starter, and he won't like that. But I think he's low in the pecking order, to be honest, with getting in that midfield now.
Well, I think it's because when we signed Saville, we were expecting him to do what Casey Palmer did yesterday. He is not that type of player.
No.
And that is one where maybe a bit more research should have gone into it. And I was reading about it before because I was having a to and fro with someone on Twitter about it, and I said, this AI data-led signing stuff, which brought us Jerry Yates, and this person responded saying Jerry Yates wasn't actually a data-led signing. I was like, okay. So he said Yusuf Sajjad said it wasn't a data-led signing. So I look it up, and George Saville was also one of these lumped in with Jerry Yates as an opportunistic market signing. Well, they should have done a bit more research into them. Just like, oh yeah, they've done it in the Championship. They'll definitely be able to do it in League One, because Saville wouldn't have been good for the football that Edwards was trying to play. Maybe he would have been all right for Bloomfield, but for Wilshere, no. But obviously he was signed before Wilshere. He was a Bloomfield signing. But it does beg the question: how much input does a manager actually get in who they're being given? Although I have to say, like Davy Vandenberg, he looked good, but like with Izzy Jones, as you said, when he first came on, you can tell they're both not match sharp because they're taking time, to make errors. Passes just played a little bit too long, or the ball
Yeah.
like sort of shins off them or something like that. But they grew into the game,
Yeah.
both of them, and
They
they were
did.
both tremendous at the end.
Absolutely finding their passing range, albeit in their defence, on a cut-up pitch throughout that game, coming on to find your passing range on a pitch which is normally pretty good. I don't care what Bradford fans are saying online about the pitch. They should look at their own beach pitch that they had a couple of years ago. There wasn't a single blade of grass on the bloody thing. But it's like, yeah, they came on. It took them a while to find their range. The pitch just cut up even more, and we still bossed it. In case you haven't wondered throughout this whole stream, I really can't stand Bradford or their fans. So
no, I wouldn't have thought. Would never have known that. Minibot
Entitled.
23. Yeah, entitled Bradford fans. In all fairness, they got a big stadium and they do fill it. To be fair to them, like what they get 20,000. They were getting 20,000 in League Two. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Good stadium, great history. Yeah, of course, but
Yeah,
it's like you can't big yourself up. Oh, when they were flying at the top, and them and Stevenage obviously on the slow slope down at the moment, bigging themselves up. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when they get hit by someone in a proper game of football, oh, you can't do that. You can't play like that. That's not fair. You've got Palmer and Clark, some of them were saying. He's like, well, if you're going to bring that attitude to the game, eventually you're going to get fucking spanked a couple of times, ain't you? And that 2-1 scoreline should have been a lot more.
Yeah. And look, someone was. It's great that we finally turned it on. Long overdue for that type of reaction from the team, and I'm glad like Will Shibble is starting to click. I'm happy. I'm delighted with that.
I just hope it's not another false dawn, unfortunately.
I know that's the caveat, isn't it? We got to take this performance, shove it down Cardiff's throat. Absolutely, take it to them. And hope for the best. So, we'll be back with the midweek catch up, won't we? We will be previewing that Cardiff game, which is quite a big one now, and we'll see where we are truly at, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, they're missing. Who are they missing? Is it Whittle? I want to say it's Whittle.
They're missing their big boy. They have the absolute man mountain of a player, Colwill. They're missing Ruben Colwill, but they got Joel Colwill, his younger brother, who's much smaller, but he's also a striker.
We'll see. Look,
and he's Salek is out as well, isn't he?
Is he?
I think that is a massive loss for them. But they
were down to 10 men.
Yeah, they won 3-0 against Rotherham as well, which is mad.
And they were down to 10 men early on in that game, and they still came out 3-0.
Yeah, that is absolutely sensational for them. Is Saleh gone? He wasn't on the bench, but he's not down as. That's an interesting one. Have they transferred him out? Don't think they would have transferred him out, right? He's a tremendous player. Salah, no, he's still there. Interesting. Yeah, what a player. Will be interesting. He hasn't played since 24th of Jan. Ah, well. We'll look into it more for the midweek catch up and see where we're at. But it will be a nice return for Gabe Osho as well, won't it?
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. I hope Devante has to leave one on him in the first minute.
Straight away.
But by being responsible, not a dickhead, like that. If you saw that video doing the rounds of
the non-league player in
the non-league player just kicks that guy in the Achilles.
Kick.
Yeah.
It's not even a kick, it's like a stamp and a drag down, isn't he?
Not good.
And it's all from a hidden camera behind the goal, isn't it? Like the goalkeeper's camera or something.
Yeah, Ben Foster caught him.
Oh, that is disgraceful.
Yeah, you've been caught by the Fozcast.
Yeah. I meant Ben Foster's a disgrace, not the player.
Yeah, no, he is. He was a decent enough goalkeeper when he wasn't playing for them lot. Right. It's funny, isn't it? When all is well, people don't want to call in and have a whinge. We had someone that came and then they went and never mind.
It's a shame because I was really wanted to hear people's opinions on this defence. I mean, it's such a makeshift defence at the moment, but it's doing the job.
Hey,
I'd love to know what
they
people
all
think.
know each other.
Argument.
They
argument.
Yeah, but it's not really a right back. He's not bombing down. He's not marauding. Like, the attacking output is coming from Shader Morris or whoever else will go on the right hand side. Who
I think
replaced
my
Shader
traditionalist for that
Morris?
though.
Yeah. Well, Izzy Jones can do
Who
that job
replaced
as well.
Morris? He can, yeah. Who replaced Morris? I don't know.
Oh, but look, Morris was kind of Wells, wasn't it? Actually, it was Al Hamidi, Wells. Then Cole came off, so Jones came on. He played left side. Wells played right side, as far as I can remember. And Vandenberg came on. He replaced Richards.
Richards.
It was an interesting one, and
Yeah.
look, there's more to come. There really is. I hope I'm not gonna say we're back. Hey, if we take 3 points from Cardiff, I'll be fully on the we are so back train. Choo
Well, I'll take a point.
I'll be booking
take a point.
I'll be booking my hotel at Wembley if well actually I only live like 10 miles away from Wembley or less. No, 7 miles.
Oh, yeah.
I live 7 miles from Wembley, so it's not so bad, I won't be singing 30 miles from Wembley. I'll be 7 miles from Wembley, jumping on at Stanmore Station, which is great because I can get absolutely hammered on my way there as well. It's tremendous. For the playoff final, I think I got a 6-pack, and by the time I got to Wembley Park, I was fully gone. It was brilliant. What a day out. What a day out. And I saw Tony Thorpe on the way out as well. Amazing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, down to my brother's superstition, me and Daniel were the only ones in Wembley not wearing anything Luton related because so superstitious that season. There's a photo of us outside Wembley. We're both in our coats, which we wore from, the whole season through the winter. And I'm wearing a woolly hat. Daniel's in a pair of kind of Adidas or something like that.
It was blisteringly hot. It was
blisteringly
hot.
We almost, but yeah, and there's a photo of us going into Wembley, and we were getting looks like we just robbed someone of a couple of tickets, maybe, and just made our way in, not knowing what's happening. But yeah, and Dan was like, "We can't see ourselves in the crowd." It's like, I'm surprised, we're the only ones not wearing orange here today.
Yeah,
but yeah, I actually tried to buy someone's shirt off them on the tube. This one that I'm wearing, but this is the reissue from the recent club shop reissue. But yeah, I did try and buy it off the fella's back, but Daniel told me not to because it would break the superstition.
Yeah, look, you got to get off the superstitions. Like I've broken a few, and to be honest, after the 18 months we've had as a football club, I can tell you superstitions don't mean jack shit.
They're all long gone now, mate.
Yeah,
long gone.
Absolutely. But yeah, no one else fancies calling in. Hey, it happens. Like, a moaning is very, very busy. Whereas this, hey, they just want to hear us wax lyrical about what's going on and how happy we are.
Well, it's Sunday, and it was an early kickoff, so there might be a few sore heads kicking about.
Yeah,
and Liverpool Man City was one hell of a game that's just happened tonight as well.
That was a great game. Yeah,
the ending of that. Just fast forward to the 95th minute plus and just enjoy the absolute fast that is modern football and VAR.
So I was watching that, and I was talking to my dad. I was like, you know what? Casey Palmer would fit right in this Man City midfield. He would. He looked great. He looked.
I hope Pep isn't listening to this today. Pep's not in the chat, is he?
Nah, he's. Hey, he only signs overpriced people from, the Premier League, doesn't he? I don't know how much Semenyo went for. I mean, it's a good signing. I know. Semenyo's proved me very wrong. I thought he was bang average at Bristol City, and then he's gone absolutely lit the world on fire at Bournemouth, and single-handedly retired Daiki Hashioka as well, hasn't he?
Oh God, yeah. Jeez, man. Yeah. What a game. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Always managed to bring it back to that Bournemouth game. Never mind. Right. Let's finish on a positive. Midweek catch up Wednesday night, 9 p.m. We hope to see you there. And everyone, thank you very much for watching, commenting. Thank you to everyone that's listened back to this on Apple or Spotify or watched us back on YouTube. We love you all. Thank you very much. And as always, come on, you Hatters. There we go.